Are prop firms a scam? I've been running Lark Funding for over 3 years, and before that, I was a prop firm trader myself. I lived off of prop firms full time, so I know prop firms in and out. And so today, we're going to be reacting to a video titled "Why Prop Firms Are Scams." So I can give you an inside look as for whether or not there's actually any truth to this, maybe a couple of things you should keep in mind, or at the very least, hopefully we can get a good laugh from it. So let's get right into it.
Now, in this video, I'll either infuriate you or have you stop doing something that you've been doing.
That first of all, that's a pretty crazy setup. I mean, I have no idea with respect to the video. I have no idea who this guy is. I've never seen any of his videos before, but I mean, with a setup like that, I hope he's the real deal because that's pretty insane.
For a very long time. Either way, both sides will be very much educated about what I'm about to explain about funded companies. Now, before I go ahead and break things down, funded companies aren't actually scams because they give you all the fine prints.
Does that mean we're 19 seconds in? Does that mean we need to stop the video right here? I mean, come on, dude. Why prop firms are scams? That I don't want to say clickbait, but I mean, come on.
They give you all the rules, they give you all the restrictions before you end up paying for that package or paying for that funded account. Now, anything that tells you exactly what you're going to get is not a scam. When you go to the casino and put $100 on blackjack, you know that if the dealer gets 21 and you, for say, get 19, the dealer ends up making money and the house wins in that case. Now, don't get me wrong, there are actually a lot of companies that end up going down for scamming their traders. Why does that happen? Well, you see it online on Twitter, Instagram, they all get exposed because a lot of their payouts don't actually go out because they have to deal with liquidity issues. Now, that's either because there are restrictions in—
Yes, absolutely. I mean, 2024, the entire industry can be summarized on this. We saw so many firms, pretty predictable, especially the firms that went out of business, but tons of firms that denied payouts to the point where everyone was freaking out on social media. They were like, this company is going under. They lose trust. Nobody signs up for them. Then they can't pay out even more payouts. And yeah, so liquidity issues 100% is a thing for struggling prop firms.
rules are too lenient or all their traders are winning. Now, you have to remember, how do funded companies actually make money? They make money because you guys are failing, right? They don't make money because you guys are doing great. They're betting that every single person—
So yes and no. So of course, prop firms make money when traders fail their challenges. But as we've seen, as the industry continues to mature, the companies that are doing the best, that are sustainable, are the ones that are going to be able to use a hybrid style between A booking and B booking traders. So B booking meaning that a prop firm never takes any of their clients' trades in the live market. A booking being they take every single trade that a funded trader takes on the live market. It's really the hybrid model that's the most sustainable. Firms need to figure out how they can actually monetize the data of their traders. And the problem is, the easier the rules are on a challenge, the harder it is to monetize that data because there can be much larger swings in equity. There can be less risk management, all sorts of things. So the tighter the rules, the easier it is to monetize the data, and vice versa. When it comes to easier challenges. So agree and slightly disagree on that point. The long-term goal of any sustainable prop firm is, of course, to monetize the data of their traders.
or the majority of people who go on their funded company and buy funded accounts are going to end up failing in the long run. Now, what does that mean for them? Well, when someone wins, 10 other people fail. And that's their business model. Same thing when you go to the casino. Yes, there are people who end up hitting at the slot machines. There are people who will always win at the baccarat tables. But for how many people who win end up actually losing? Understanding how funded companies make money will have you—
When I started Lark Funding, one of the goals that I had was to be incredibly transparent, which we're seeing more of in the industry, but at the time in 2022, that was not the case at all. So from the very beginning, we've been super transparent in our pass rates. And so this statistic is accurate. Roughly 10% of traders will pass a challenge. It fluctuates month to month. Sometimes we'll have as high as 15% in 1 month. Sometimes it'll drop to as low as 7% depending on market conditions. And it varies across challenges, but as a whole, law of large numbers, on average, 10% will pass.
You sit there and think about, wow, So this many people are expected to fail, and I'm supposed to stand out and be the winner here?
Loser is a strong word in this case. Yes, if you failed a challenge, you have lost, but some traders will approach challenges as an education. I'm not necessarily encouraging that, perhaps on the smaller account sizes. To have a little bit of skin in the game from my trading experience is always valuable compared to just purely trading demo. So to pay $50 for a 5K challenge or even less, as opposed to just trading a purely demo account, I think you do learn more, you take it more seriously. So if you take that approach and you fail a challenge, I wouldn't necessarily call you a loser, but I can understand the sentiment that he's going with in this case.
Well, a funded company isn't just like any other company where both sides end up being winners. Well, most times the company will be the winner and the other side will be the loser or the failure, so that you can buy another package or another funded account. In most cases, companies have both sides winning, where the client, for me, for example, when I'm trading on my broker, I pay a contract fee, which now the broker ends up collecting, and in return, I get the shares or options that I press the button to purchase. So now when you wrap your head around all of that and you start from the very beginning, how do funded companies market? Well, it's marketing 101. What do you always see from these funded companies where they post on Twitter, Instagram, on any social media platform? What do? Big payouts. And when you think about that and understand the marketing side of that, what can you really compare big payout screenshots, testimonials, or having the clients or consumers post their big payouts? What can you compare that to that is really blowing up in the last 3-4 years and isn't even federally legal in all 50 states? Gambling, sports betting. What do you see FanDuel post the most? What do you see DraftKings post the most? What do you see every single sports betting company post? Big payouts. Now, when you see someone turn $30 into $90,000, what does that click in your brain for you to do? Oh, if that person can do a 20-leg parlay, I have the chance to do it. Maybe not on my first one, but if I do it 5 times with $30.
Yes and no. Like, of course, prop firms also post small wins. I don't know about DraftKings or any gambling site. I don't follow that industry. I don't gamble at all. But of course, prop firms are going to post payouts for a variety of reasons. One, for motivation, which I think he's sort of lightly touching on, but two, also for legitimacy, right? Are you going to sign up for a prop firm that's brand new, that hasn't processed a single payout? Probably not. I hope not. So I don't totally understand yet. Maybe he'll elaborate further the sentiment. I'm getting kind of the vibe of there's like negative connotation towards posting payouts, but just saying, hey, this is what's possible. I don't see how there's an issue with that.
And end up making $20,000, $30,000.
Yeah, that I totally disagree with. There's tons of prop firms that will post literally $40 payouts. So disagree with that.
This reward is great. Let me try it. Both sides, when it comes to funded companies and sports betting, only post the big wins. And what's crazy about it is they don't even post the small wins. They post the big wins because they know those are going to get the attention. Do they ever post losers? Now, have they? Yes. But what is 99% of parlays that are posted by these big companies for sports betting? Winners. Now, they'll show you sometimes a loser here and there because they'll show you, oh, this guy was one leg off of turning $30,000 into $50,000. He could have cashed out early. Then you're going to sit there.
But how is that any different from literally any company in the world that does any form of advertising, right? If you think of a car company where they have a young, good-looking couple driving a Kia, wants you to think is, oh my gosh, if I drive a Kia, maybe I'll be young and attractive and be in a relationship. Like, it's no different than literally any company in the entire world that markets and advertises. They want to portray an image and a vision of what your life could be like if you purchase their product. And prop firms are no different.
And say, why didn't he cash out early? Now, what does that do to the consumer's psychology? Well, when you see those things, it makes you think, well, if he can do it, I can do it too. That's just a humanly thing to think. When I see big, successful people in this world, I sit there and say, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. Now, you actually could make money from.
It's hard. It's hard. And that's why I've wanted to be transparent. Anybody telling you that it's easy, anybody telling you that they have the secret to it, run far away from them. It's not easy. 90% of people fail. And anybody that signs up for a prop firm challenge should know that it is incredibly difficult. But anything in life worth pursuing is difficult. What is the acceptance rate into Harvard? What is the acceptance rate in North America into med school, right? Everything in life that is worth pursuing, that has a huge payoff, is difficult, and trading is no different.
Funded accounts, because it's possible, right? They give you a funded account, you have to pass a few stages before you get your live account, and then you can end up making money. But how hard is it to make money from that? Now, is it really worth it? Because if you sit there and think, the company succeeds based on people's failures. Now, if people are getting $20,000, $30,000 payouts, how many people had to fail with those $50, $100 funded accounts that you had to purchase? Only addictions you can win at, unlike doing drugs. If you do drugs, there's nothing you could really win at, but you can end up feeling great. But when you gamble, it's one of the only addictions that have a possibility of a big return. Now, when you see these big payouts and you see how cheap it is to really fund your account technically, because you're buying a $50 funded account for, let's say, a $5,000.
I completely disagree. As for whether a trader trades or gambles on the account is completely dependent on the trader. It has nothing to do with the prop firm. Yes, certainly a prop firm that has more generous rules, 100-to-1 leverage, that might encourage more gambling type traders to sign up, as opposed to a firm that has strict risk management rules, and therefore gamblers are going to stay away from that firm. But it is completely dependent on the trader who signs up for a challenge in regards to how they're going to trade the account. And just to add to what I said, just because it's cheap doesn't mean you're going to gamble on it. In fact, it might even be the opposite. If you're only dropping $30 or $50 on a 5K account, the potential payout is a few $100s at best. So I mean, are you going to gamble to try and make a couple $100s, as opposed to, say, pay $500 for a 100K account, and then sure, maybe there'll be more gambling on that account because you could earn 5K, 10K, 15K on that account. So I don't know. I don't really think there's necessarily a strong correlation between the price of a challenge and gambling behavior.
And not actually trading, because how cheap it is. All you think about is how big and how fast can I pass these tests so that I can make a lot of money, just like that guy Noor on Instagram. Because at the end of the day, it's just another $50 account that you have to purchase. So if you blow it, you can try again tomorrow, and after tomorrow, and after tomorrow, and maybe 3 times in a day if you really wanted to. Now, instead of sitting there and saying, I value this $50, let me take this nice and slow and actually look at the rules and regulations and restrictions that they're applying for me to use or to do, and sit there and say, okay, how can I build this in the long run? People come into this thinking they can get rich quick. Now, what this does for future traders who see other traders getting these big payouts, they sit there and say, well, I can get rich quick. And
I completely disagree. I don't think anybody is thinking I'm going to get rich off a $50, $5,000 account. People that are saying, oh my gosh, I can get rich, they're seeing huge payouts, and nobody is looking at a 10K payout and being like, ooh, I'm going to get that on a 5K account. Nobody's thinking that.
It might possibly only take $50 to do so. And the best part about it, just like a parlay in gambling, every time it doesn't work out, you can just try it again. Now with trading and how it used to be, you used to have to only use your own capital, which what did that do? It created a scarcity for your own capital, because the $1,000 or $2,000 you funded your account is actually your money. So when you sit there and you trade, you try to follow all your discipline and all your rules that you set for yourself, obviously so that you can succeed over a long period of time, and you sit there and follow it to your best abilities. Now, obviously people have still blown their account, following their rules, and they end up blowing it anyways a month or 2 later. But
again, I totally disagree. The argument that he's making is that when people trade personal accounts, they have skin in the game, and so they're gonna lose statistically, but they're learning more. you have to pay for a prop firm challenge. You're putting skin in the game. So I can't speak for everyone, but I don't care if I put $500 or $50 into an account. I've put skin in the game. I'm not just gonna not care about it, right? I paid for the challenge. I'm going to take it seriously. That's not to say people don't gamble. Of course they do. But the people that are dropping $50 and gambling on an account are the same people that could drop $50 or $500 into a personal account and gamble that too. So I think there's no correlation between the level of seriousness and whether or not somebody is on a prop firm challenge or trading their personal capital. And I think that's proven based on the success rate being low, both across prop firm challenges and personal accounts.
They're actually putting in effort to actually learn about trading versus buying an account, setting it up, going all in, and then failing it 5, 10, 15 minutes later, and then just doing it all over again. Real emotion.
Again, totally disagree. Anybody who has traded a 100K funded account knows how stressful that can be. Back in 2020, 2021, I took my first 100K challenges with FTMO, and I was plenty stressed, plenty nervous when it came time to taking a trade. It was half a month's worth of rent to pay for that 100K challenge. So you can best believe I was nervous. I was taking it just as serious as if I had put that $700 into a personal account. In fact, I was probably taking it even more seriously because I knew that if I did pass and if I did do well on the funded account, the potential payoff was way more than if I put that money into a personal account. So I completely disagree.
Will only ever come from using your real money. If you ever use someone else's money, it's not the same. Same thing with, purchasing something with $20 that your mom.
Sure, but if your mom and dad are constantly giving you $50 to pay for a 5K challenge and you don't respect your parents' money, okay, in that case, I would secede and say that's true, but that's not accurate.
Mom or father gave to you when you were younger. It was just $20 that your father or mother gave to you, and it wasn't your money that you worked hard for. Now, when you finally got a job, you start to think twice about that $20, $30, $40 meal that you want to purchase because you just have to spend an hour or two to work for it. Same thing with having a real account. When you work so hard at your job to actually accumulate that money, that $1,000, $2,000 that you funded your account, you think twice or 3 or 4 times before you actually make a move in the market because you don't want to lose the money that you worked so hard for. Now, whose fault is that? Is this the funded account or funded company's fault, or is it the consumer side's fault? Well, it can't be the funded company because you knew exactly what you were signing up for. They just took advantage of people who want to get rich quick, and that's 99% of people on social media. You have to remember, people go to the casino every single week with the money they work so hard for the possibility that they can make a lot of money from it. Instead of learning a skill or using that money to invest into themselves, people make money, go to the casino because there's a possibility that they can get rich from it. And what happens every single time, or 97% of the time, even if they made money this week, they'll lose it the following week. The truth is, everyone wants the easy route nowadays, and nobody wants to go the long route. Back then, I didn't even have YouTube videos to watch. There were so much limited sources where I had to learn trading from. Now, I can go online and see 100 videos pop up on my Explore page. And honestly, I'm not even mad at them. They'll find out
the sentiment that he has here is that funded challenges are the easy route. They're not. They're just as difficult, if not more difficult, than trading personal accounts. So I completely agree. It comes down to the consumer. If a prop firm is being honest, the rules are laid out. It's down to the consumer how they treat it. But this idea that prop firms are taking the easy way out is, again, maybe I'm misunderstanding, maybe I'm missing something, but if I am understanding the way that I think I am, I disagree.
hard way. Life isn't about taking the easy route. As far as funded companies that are paying out their traders every single day, I'm not talking about the ones that went under and ended up not paying their traders. I'm talking about the biggest ones nowadays who are paying out their traders. They've done nothing wrong. You knew exactly what you were signing up for, and all they did.
Nor Trades, cool video. I fundamentally disagree on a few things, several things that you said, but regardless, the channel looks great. The setup, the screens look great. I appreciate you making that video and bringing more awareness to the prop firm industry. I'll drop a link down to that video below if you want to check out his channel. Let me know in the comment section what you would like to see me react to next. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.